Deezy and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about, the way I sleep in naps. Throughout the day, I just have naps, hour, 15 minutes, occasionally a double nap like that. But and my gurus did the same thing. I know Ramesh slept in naps, and he would do his writing at 3 in the morning like that. And Baba, I knew, slept in naps. Not that it was announced or anything, but I could see it being around him and being in his house all the time. I knew he was up in the middle of the night, and I knew he took a nap during the day. And so it's like, and we were talking about this, and we both were saying, well, what it is, there's the deep sleep that happens when you're sleeping through the night. I don't think happens in this case because it's already happening. So it's hard to explain, but when you go to sleep at night, you have your dream state, and then you're in deep sleep. In that state of deep sleep, no one is there. You don't know you're there. You don't even know that you exist. You're not even being. But when you wake up, you remember that there was a time that you weren't there. And the remarkable thing is, during that time of your absence, there was no fear. And after that time, there's no fear. It's so interesting because, the ego is so afraid. What would happen without me? Well, you can see what happens without you because it happens every single night. There's a time when you are not present, when no one is there. So that my sense of it now, reflecting upon our conversation, is that really that's the state. That's what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the state of no one being home, nothing being there, absolutely nothing, just blank, just boom. It's all, everything's off, okay? Now, you see someone talking, you see personality, communication, and all of this, but really no one's home. Okay, there's an appearance, and there seems to be a character here, but no one is home. No one's here at all. Really, what's here is that same thing that you experience every night in deep sleep. And you see there's no word for it. As soon as you attach a word to it, it's not what it is. Because what it is blank. It's just blank. But what it is, if you had to describe what that nothingness is, it's peaceful. You could even say it's loving if you wanted to put kind of a personality to it, because loving, it's like an expression. But it is expressionless. There's just a sense of being without anyone being aware of being. Okay, so that's always here. It's with you now, but your identification with yourself as a personality, as a person, has made that seem distant to you. But it's not distant to you. In fact, it's required that you return to it every night. It's just a part of, you can't function. If you don't get deep sleep, you cannot function. You see, it'll affect everything. So it's actually something that's with you all the time, but a line has been drawn. That's something else. And I don't even look at it. I don't even think about it. But you know something happened. You wake up in the morning, you feel refreshed. You feel like you got a good night's sleep. You see, you feel rested and ready to go in your make-believe world. But this state of deep sleep, it's not a state, but this thing, this deep sleep that happens, this is your true home. You see, everything is there, but the mind can only see it as nothing because there's no object, no subject, there's no discrimination, there's nothing for the mind to grab onto, but everything is there. Everything is there. And without connecting with it periodically, you can't function. So basically, I would say it's a good way to describe what this enlightenment is. That really, it's just like carrying deep sleep with you in the waking state. It's like that. So it's a new way to explain what I'm trying to say. Good.
In deep sleep, the thinking mind vanishes, but the heart and the breathing and those functions continue.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
So we're still here as long as our heart and our breathing keeps us going. But you're talking about sort of even if that heart would stop, we're still here.
Yes, in a manner of speaking. You're thinking we're still here as you as a subject, you see. But you as a subject is temporary because you as a subject is duality. Okay.
So it's just the consciousness. So if I take me out, but I still am consciousness.
Well, consciousness is, you don't get to be that which owns you. That which owns you is you. So it's like it's hard to describe, isn't it? I had an analogy, but it didn't work.
Right. It's just bigger. It's more predominant, and it's not just me. It would be everybody.
Yeah, it's everything. Everything is absorbed. It's like a black hole, you see. So a black hole absorbs everything into nothing. Okay? So the who that you are is like the black hole. Yeah, and everything becomes one in it. And one is everything, but it has the appearance of nothing. Okay? Because it's everything. Hard to explain, but that makes sense. If you can look at it, it's just like we look in outer space and we see stars and we see planets and we say that's something. In space, we say, well, that's nothing. And what I'm saying is the opposite. That space is everything. And those little dots that you see are nothing.
Thank, thank you for the reminder.
Hmm.
No, it's a challenge to put this into words, especially with the American culture, because we're so far removed from this way of being and thinking that, yeah, I feel like I'm the slow student in class. God, I need the dunce hat.
It doesn't matter really, you see. This isn't anything to be understood. And the truth is, you already know what I'm saying. You already know it. You, the one who you think you are is the only one who doesn't know. All the rest of you knows for sure. All the rest of you knows. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep coming back for this shit. There's a part of you that knows there's something to this and can feel that there is. And really, whatever you understand is just going to prove not to be it. But there's a process that goes on where you just getting your mind in alignment, and the words and the concepts are pointing your attention in the right direction, you see? Because when you're lost in the illusion and then you start believing the illusion is real, then you lose that sense of who you truly are, and you strengthen the connection with the person that you think you are. You see, so what we're doing here is giving you new concepts that point the who that you're not in alignment, or at least stop it from interfering with you knowing that which you already know. So I always felt with my gurus that they weren't telling me something new. There was a recognition in what they were saying. And, they call the enlightenment realization. It's like a realization of what was always present, always there. So this is just an exercise in getting everything pointing in the right direction. Now, when the understanding truly happens, you'll laugh at what you thought you understood before, because all you were doing was replacing old belief systems with new belief systems. But in that process, the destruction erodes that sense of me, which is the link, the connection with the illusion. And as that diminishes, what is known is what has always been known, and what is seen is that which has always been. So it's just an odd process that one goes through in the diminishment of the connection with illusion. You see? And then the dream is over. No big deal. No big deal. At least the dreamer. The dream may continue, but there's no one dreaming it anymore. It just goes on. This whole world, everything in your life is created through your imagination. You, a long time ago as a child, imagined that you were an individual. You imagined that you did this and you did that. You imagined that you have a life and that and the whole story and history and all of that was created through your imagination. Okay, it's an amazing tool you have. This imagination, it creates a whole world, a whole world. But it's just an imaginary world. The real world is what happened before you imagined this world. Imagine that. So what I want you all to do is use your imagination in a new way. Use your imagination to imagine that you are not who you have imagined yourself to be. Use your imagination to imagine what it would be like to have that same place of deep sleep with you in your waking state. Imagine what that might be like, because that's pretty close to what it is. Okay? You know, it's like every night you have your dreams and then you have your deep sleep. Imagine that in that deep sleep, you went home for a short time for a visit. You go for your nightly visit to home, you see? And then you wake up to this world and you're away from home because you're imagining that you are. You're imagining that you're a separate person. You're imagining that you're a person. You're imagining that you have a life. All this, you're imagining. You don't have any imagination when you go home. You don't need it, because there, everything just is. So imagine now carrying that place. There's no right word to say what it is, but carrying that essence of everything just is, that silence, that stillness, that not even knowing that you are, not even being there. You see, imagine right now, not even being here. Let the dream go on. Let the participation go on. Let the thoughts, let the feelings go on. But imagine that at the same time, you're not even here. There's this stillness. There's this complete, utter stillness that swallows everything up, There's no thoughts. There's no feelings. There's nothing. Imagine that that is with you now, in spite of the thoughts, in spite of the feelings, in spite of the apparent actions, but they have nothing to do with you because there is no you. You know this every night. Every night in deep sleep, there is no you. Zero. You're zero. Yet, you wake up. You feel refreshed. And like the stress is gone. Unless you have some thoughts and then it comes up again. But the reason that they carry the stress that you absorb is because of the connection. You've connected with those thoughts. Those are not thoughts, those are your thoughts. This is not a body, this is your body. This is not an action, this is your action. You have a whole history to look back on. You have photographs to prove it. But nothing ever happened here. This is when you look out in outer space, this is one of those dots. One of those dots is you. The space is everything. And that tiny little dot in the distance, you're going to focus on and say, that's me. So there is an essence that is with you always. It is very much like what you experience in deep sleep. Ain't nothing to it. And within that nothing is everything.